Hi guys, and welcome to the Stephen King Sematary Club. The Raft is one of the best stories in this collection. We have four main characters in this. We have Deke, Randy, who is the narrator, Rachel, and Laverne. Now, Deke and Rachel are in a relationship, Laverne and Randy are in a relationship. But lately, Laverne has been kind of eyeing Deke. And Deke and Randy have been roommates for a very long time, so they're buddies. They have a nice rapport. Our story takes place not in Maine, but in Pennsylvania. And they are at a college. They're in one of their dorm rooms or apartments. They're talking about end of summer, the sadness of summer just being over. Randy says, I know of a guy who doesn't take his raft off the lake until it's absolutely necessary. And one of these days, he's probably not going to get it in time and it's going to ice over and his raft is going to be fucked up. Now, I can remember going to my aunt's cottage and the process of getting the boat out of the water for the winter. And I don't know, it's like a very particular memory that I have, and it applies to this because they also had a raft. And you know, the raft in question is one of those that is just on barrels. It's out in the lake. I think this one is about 50 yards out from the shore, and it floats there. And there's usually a ladder and sometimes a diving board, and you can just hang out on it, do flips off of it. You can kind of go under it and bob, and I don't know, it's just lake life. So Randy says, we should go out there and have one last hurrah, because now it's October and, pretty soon things are over. Now also, lakes in late fall, early winter are very cold. Like really cold. I have gone swimming in November in Lake Michigan. It is not pleasant. I did this when I was quite little. I didn't like it. So Deke, who is the athlete of the group, he's really excited about it. He thinks it's a great plan. They all pile into his car. They drive out to this secluded lake. There's a lot of tension and relationship dynamics are shifting constantly. Laverne is basically edging Randy out of her life and moving toward Deke, who is interested, and Randy's just kind of like, I don't like you anymore, you're a bitch. She's acting horribly. She's acting horribly toward Rachel, toward Randy, toward everyone. So they get there. They strip down to their underwear and they all jump in. And the water's freezing cold, as it would be, They swim out to the raft, and Randy notices this little oil slick, or so it appears. It's kind of like a little checker. It's a perfect circle. It's floating on the water, so like the waves that are coming, it goes up and over them. And it is suspicious looking because it's so perfect. It doesn't look like a natural thing. And Randy freaks out and he's like, Rachel, you need to get out of the water, you need to swim. I don't like this. And so he's the only one who has seen it and is scared by it. He gets Rachel out of the water, and the four of them are standing there shivering because they're in their underwear and now they are soaking wet, and it's, October. They have no idea what it is. Rachel is inspecting it and she sees that there are colors in it, which is also kind of like, when you see a puddle of oil in the parking lot and you see all the colors in it. And she is getting hypnotized from looking at it. And she reaches in the water to touch it, and it engulfs her. It is a glorious description. She gets sucked into the water and this thing is eating her. It is just sucking the life out of her. Quote, all three of them saw her flail to the surface. Her arms came up waving. No, not arms. One arm. The other was covered with a black membrane that hung in flaps and folds from something red and knitted with tendons, something that looked a little like a rolled roast of beef. Page 288. So this takes quite a long time where she's getting devoured. It's mentioned later in the story that they should have been escaping when this thing has been distracted, and that would have been the perfect time for all three of them to just go. This thing has grown now that it's eaten Rachel. Laverne is freaking out now. Deke and Randy are quite annoyed with her. And the thing goes under the raft. So it's hanging out underneath them. And Deke decides he's going to make a swim for it while it's under there. So he starts walking toward the edge of the raft, and it reaches up through the cracks, because it's like boards across the barrels, and it has like grabbed him between the cracks, his foot, because he was stepping not precisely on the boards but in between them, and it starts pulling him down through this like half-inch gap in the wood, and it is like pulling and eating. So his foot goes through, his ankle goes through, his lower leg starts going through his calf, and that's like pushing the blood up and causing a whole bunch of pressure, and he eventually dies because the hemorrhaging that must happen from that is insane. So as he's being dragged through, Laverne has fainted, and Randy's trying to hold her off the cracks. Deke gets pulled all the way through. So the pressure has definitely killed him, or the blood loss, or a combination. And all that's left is his class ring. That's all that remains. Like, even his head has somehow gone through. So Randy and Laverne are left alone. And Randy's pissed at her for basically, throwing herself at Deke and kind of, in the process, ending things between the two of them. And, he doesn't like her anymore. Given that they're in this highly charged situation, they are scared, cold, really worried about what's going to happen because no one knows that they're out there. Like, they did not tell anyone where they were going. No one is, like, in these cabins on the lake. It's just the two of them alone. So they take turns, like, watching the thing and resting, and there's no plan. They have no plan. They just are hoping it's going to go away. So at some point, Randy and Laverne start having this like angry survival mode sex, and Randy is keeping watch on the circular creature because he says that if it gets close, I'll pull you up. No, he gets hypnotized from staring at the colors too long, and the next thing you know, the creature is pouring over Laverne's hair, face, head, everything. So Randy just kicks her over the side of the raft and lets the creature have her. And he should have made his escape at that time, but he doesn't. He just is horrified, and he's paralyzed. So now, I like Randy more than Laverne. I have more sympathy for him. She was a bitch. But if you're in that situation, make sure you're on top, because the person on the bottom is the one who gets killed. Randy goes through the entire next day, and then it's night again. He is still out there, and it's still waiting for him, and he doesn't have any recourse, so he just decides to let the colors hypnotize him, hoping that that is going to anesthetize the process and will make it not painful, which of course we don't find out because he gets killed. And that is the raft, and I love it. I love the isolation factor. I love the prospect of, no one knows where they are, so they are really, really trapped. It's just far enough off the shore that it's not an easy solution, but it is one of those things where you're so close. It's not like they're, a mile away from shore. They are so close. They can see the car. They can see their clothes. It's within their reach, and they just can't do anything about it. They are held hostage by this circular creature who is perpetually hungry because it doesn't stop after eating. It keeps going. It doesn't want just one of them. It wants all of them. Have a spooky day.